What I owed my grandmother. I learned early that love in my house came with conditions. My parents were respected people in our Ohio town, successful, polished, obsessed with appearances. What they weren't proud of was the frail, elderly woman living in the spare room at the back of our house. My grandmother, Margaret, she hadn't always been fragile. Once she was everything. She worked double shifts as a nurse after my grandfather died young. She paid for my father's college education. She helped him buy the very house we lived in. She gave until there was nothing left to give. And when she no longer had anything to offer, she became a problem. She's forgetful, my mother would say. She's slowing us down, my father added. She needs to be placed somewhere, they both agreed. I was 17 when I realized my grandmother wasn't just growing old. She was being erased. Dinner was served without calling her. Her medications ran out. Doctor appointments were delayed or forgotten. Her room became cold, bare, and silent. Then one night, I overheard my parents talking about moving her to a cheap nursing home far from town. That night, I sat beside my grandmother's bed and held her trembling hands. Am I a burden now? She asked quietly, staring at the ceiling. Something inside me hardened. No, Grandma, I said. They are. The fight started the next morning. I won't let you send her away, I said at the breakfast table. They laughed. You're a child, my father snapped. You don't understand adult responsibility, my mother said. So I stopped arguing and started paying attention. I documented everything, missed prescriptions, delayed medical visits, bank statements showing my grandmother's pension disappearing into shared accounts. I recorded conversations. I researched elder abuse laws in the US. That's when I learned the truth. What my parents were doing wasn't just cruel, it was illegal. When I confronted them again, this time with facts, the house exploded. You'd report your own parents? My mother screamed. You'd ruin our reputation? My father demanded. I looked past them and saw my grandmother standing in the doorway, shoulders bent under years of humiliation. You ruined yourselves, I said quietly. I'm done protecting you. The punishment came fast. My phone was taken. My college fund was threatened. I was treated like a stranger in my own home. But revenge doesn't always shout. Sometimes it waits. I turned 18 that year. Instead of a party, I filed a report. The legal notice arrived like thunder. My parents were investigated for elder neglect and financial exploitation. Neighbors whispered. Family friends pulled away. The image my parents worshipped cracked right down the middle. They begged me to withdraw it. We raised you, my father said. Please, my mother cried. I answered calmly. You raised me to know right from wrong. This is right. The court intervened. My grandmother's finances were separated, her pension restored, her medical care secured, her dignity finally recognized. But my real revenge wasn't legal, it was freedom. I moved out with my grandmother into a small apartment near my college, 2 bedrooms, no tension, just peace. For the first time in years, she laughed. She cooked because she wanted to, not because she had to. She told me stories I'd never heard. She slept without fear, and I thrived. I studied law, focusing on elder rights and family advocacy. Years later, my first major case made the local news. Young attorney fights elder abuse. I know my parents saw it. They tried to reconnect. Apologies came late. Invitations followed. I didn't block them. I didn't scream. I just set boundaries they couldn't cross. You chose comfort over compassion, I told them once. I chose family. My grandmother passed away peacefully when I was 27. At her funeral, my parents stood at a distance, present but not forgiven. I delivered the eulogy with steady hands. She was never a burden, I said. She was the reason we had anything at all. Years later, I opened a legal aid organization called the Margaret Project, dedicated to protecting elderly Americans from neglect and exploitation. Every time an elderly person walks out with dignity restored, I think of her. That was my revenge. Not anger, not destruction, but justice that refused to forget. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps keep stories like this alive.